Hi, this is Mike Halloran, and this is a presentation for parents who have a son or daughter in one of our canoeing, camping, and climbing classes at Eden Prairie High School. We offer a couple trips with this class, and we have 6 classes. And my 2 classes will be going to the Trails End Campground at the Gunflint Trail. Actually is at the end of the Gunflint Trail. The other 4 classes will be going to the Sawbill Trail, and at the end of that road is a campground on Sawbill Lake. Both of these trips will be taking place in the same weekend, which is Friday, May 19th through Monday, May 22nd. And that's the weekend after prom and the weekend just before Memorial Day. This trip is actually a pretty good road trip. We start in the Twin Cities here from Eden Prairie High School, drive up to Duluth, follow the North Shore up to Grand Marais, and then from Grand Marais it's about a 60-mile drive up to the end of the trail, which is Trails End Campground, right near the Canadian border. The Gunflint Trail has been around a long time and it's pretty rugged for the most part. There are a few resorts along the way, but it's pretty scenic. And there have been a number of fires over the years, so in some areas, kids will get a chance to see the regrowth of the forest. And you can see some of the trees here that are still standing. And so it's a very diverse forest and very scenic drive. I was up here last summer just to check with the outfitter to see if they can handle our group. So I took some pictures along the way here. I think the kids will really enjoy the scenery in this area. The Gunflint Trail map here just shows kind of where we start from Grand Marais and then work our way up. A number of different trails along the way that the kids can stop and take a look if they ever want to come back on another trip. But we'll be heading all the way to the end of the Gunflint Trail here where the campground is. So we'll have access to a couple nice lakes, Seagull Lake and then Saganaga Lake to the north. The campsite that we'll be at here at the Trails End basically has this big loop around here. The outfitter will be right over in this area. One of the access points is right here to go to Big Sag, and the campgrounds we'll be staying at will be over in this area. We have a number of them reserved for our group, and then we have access to Seagull Lake down here to the south. They do have bears up here. Kids all were kind of a little nervous when they saw this warning here, but the bears generally leave us alone. We don't usually have any issues. The only issues we'll have is if we leave food for them. So we'll be making sure that the kids have everything sealed up and put away before they go to bed at night. Our itinerary for Friday, May 19th, since we'll be having to drive quite a distance here, we'll be loading up in the morning, and that's a school day, so the kids will be excused for that day. We're going to load the buses and the trailer at the east entrance. We'll be taking a school bus with a trailer behind it. I'll be driving. I've been doing these trips for about 10 years, so one of the reasons is so I can drive the bus and we can help kind of keep the cost of these trips down. So I'll have the trailer and the bus on the east side on Friday, and then at 6:30 we'll try to depart the high school and start our trek north. We'll take a number of breaks, kind of as many as needed. We should have plenty of time to get up at a reasonable time to set up our campsites. But we'll stop, take a bathroom break near Duluth and another bathroom break near Grand Marais or somewhere along the way. Kids don't have to bring food on the trip, or they don't have to buy food, I should say, on the trip on the way up. They can bring their own food along on the bus. That's not a problem. But if they want to stop and get some, we'll probably be making one food stop, which will be in the Grand Marais area. From there, we'll drive up the Gunflint Trail and arrive probably around 3 o'clock to set up our campsites and get ready to go for the weekend. This is a larger map of kind of the area we'll be. So the area we'll be staying, the campground is right here. This light green area just shows areas that's not actually part of the Boundary Waters. So from where we're staying, which isn't in the Boundary Waters, we'll be taking day trips out here to Seagull Lake or to the north part here up to Big Sag. So the kids will have a chance to plan their own group with their chaperone. All these little triangles, red triangles, indicate campsites that are available for people who are actually camping in the Boundary Water area. But we'll be just taking our day trips out here and then returning later on in the afternoon and staying at one place. So we have everybody accounted for every night. These are just some pictures of the Boundary Waters. Very scenic. Hopefully it's this calm when we're up there. Kids will all have a map for their group, and again, a chaperone will be leading their group, so they'll all stay together. This is looking out at from one of our campsites that we'll be in. And again, looking kind of to the south here, this is where you would go to gain access to Seagull Lake. This is our outfitter, which is right down kind of other end of the campsite. They have a cafe here. They have an outfitter that supplies any kind of canoeing gear that anybody might need. We'll be just renting the canoes, paddles, and life jackets from this outfit. And one thing about this area of Minnesota, there's no cell phone service. So the kids, if they need to make a phone call, they can go to the outfitter here. They have a landline there. And so any parents that need to contact us, I'll be providing the contact information at our outfitter here, and they can get any messages to us. So it'll be kind of a change for some kids not to have that cell phone and be able to look things up on Twitter or Facebook, but it'll be a nice break from that as well. This is just a notice just about the rules that they have going into the Boundary Waters. The biggest one that we'll be talking about are just a limit of 9 people or less per group. So our group's going to have to go in smaller groups, and we can't have a group more than 9 people. So we'll be talking about that in class. Each group will have to get a permit to go into the Boundary Waters each day. So they have these self-issuing stations, whether they're going to Seagull or SAG. And it's just a matter of filling this out and putting the information, the other copy of it, right in the box here, so they know who's in the Boundary Waters at any given time. So the chaperones will kind of coordinate that for the group. Our daily activities basically involve exploring the Boundary Waters by canoe. So there's a number of places we can go. Kids will go fishing. There's a number of different types of fish they can try to catch there. There's places they can canoe to and go hiking. In the evening, after everybody's back, we'll probably play some volleyball before it gets dark. So there's just a number of things that we can do. Probably the favorite thing for the kids is just to kind of spend time around the campfire at night. And we'll supply firewood for their campfires each night, so they won't have to go searching for that. As I mentioned before, we'll have 1 adult chaperone for every 6 students, so we'll have plenty of adults to watch over the kids. The students will always be with the chaperone when their group is canoeing. They'll always have life jackets on when they're on the water. That'll be enforced the entire trip. And then when we're back in the campsites, chaperones will have their own campsites. Kids will always know where we're at, and we make rounds and check on the kids while they're cooking, while they're hanging out at their fire, just to make sure that everything's in order. And we'll check them before they go to bed at night too, to make sure everybody's accounted for and in their right tent, and make sure that their campsites are cleaned up and ready for the evening, so we don't have any unwanted guests in the middle of the night. Some of the important rules we have here are, we emphasize this with kids quite a bit, so they'll absolutely understand this before they go on this trip. But chemicals are not allowed. All school rules apply. So anybody found consuming or in possession of alcohol or any illegal substance will be sent home. So our administration came up with this policy, and anybody who's in violation of any safety rules regarding fire use or use of knives on this trip, because knives are allowed on this trip, they're going to be sent home as well. So the process for that, we would call the parents, and the parents must arrange for immediate transportation home. That usually involves the parents having to make the long drive to pick up their son or daughter. In the event that that's not possible, then we are instructed to call the police, whether that be the county police or the state police, and we transfer custody of the student to the police until transportation can be arranged. Police will also be called to issue a citation. Deans will be notified to issue suspensions. So my message will be really clear to the kids. If this is something they want to do on a trip like this would not be the trip to make that decision. There's too many things that are going to come down if a bad decision is made. So we haven't had issues with this in the past. There have been a couple times when this has happened several years ago. And so since then, we've been a little more proactive in making sure kids understand how serious this is. and so we haven't had the issues. So I have no doubt we'll have a good trip, and I don't see any of our kids, putting themselves in this position. But again, I'll enforce it, quite a bit here before the trip. We'll go over it several times, and we'll even go over just before the trip to make sure kids understand. So on this trip, the students will need to try to get all of their equipment they can that they're going to need on the trip. I have equipment that they can use and check out, but it's easier logistically for me if kids can try to get as much of the gear for this trip that they can. So tent, sleeping bags, rain gear, flashlight, water bottle, good walking shoes, hiking boots, warm clothes, and then food that they'll plan in a group. So I'll send an equipment list home to the parents. I'll also give one to the kids. I'll also give kind of a meal planner so they can kind of see what meals they need to plan for. And then if any student has anything that they specifically need as far as equipment, they should let me know as soon as they possibly can, and I'll make sure they get those things. So we have tents, sleeping bags, and things like that. So all they have to do is let me know. Some of the things we'll do in class to prepare for this, include, shelter setup. We'll do a lot of outdoor cooking, meal planning. We'll basically do everything that the kids need to know for this trip in class. So if they've never camped before, that's not a problem. They'll have a chance to kind of practice and prepare for this trip. Really big items, again, are fire safety and safety with their knives. The knives that they can bring are, small knives used for maybe cutting some rope. No machetes, no axes, no hatchets or anything like that are going to be allowed. We'll do the equipment planning as well, and we'll do some orienteering so they can kind of have an idea how to navigate in the areas where we'll be canoeing. The last day of the trip will be a Monday, and that again will be a school day, so I'll excuse them from class on this day as well. Basically, this day is all about getting up and loading and traveling back to Eden Prairie High School. So we've got quite a ways to travel, and again with stops, it's going to take even longer. So our return trip is going to probably look something like this. We're hoping to depart around 7 a.m. That might be wishful thinking, but we'll give it a try. And then stop in Grand Marais for some food if they'd like. Then another bathroom stop or two, somewhere around Duluth or maybe after. And then hopefully we arrive back at Eden Prairie High School around 3 o'clock, just after the buses head out for that day. The sign up for the trip is Friday, April 28th, so that's coming up. There are 3 forms that are going to be due for this trip. There's a medical form, a rules form, and a permission form, which I will email home to parents. And then there's a payment of $125, and that covers transportation, fuel, some of the supplies that we give the kids, like stoves and fuel for the stoves, firewood, renting the canoes, also, the cost of renting the campsites as well. So if parents have any questions, you feel free to contact me at any time. You can email me. That's probably the easiest. You can call me. There's my voicemail number. But feel free to call and or email and ask any questions. And there's no limit on the questions. I know that not all the information comes home all the time from high school kids. I know that because my 2 kids went through these classes and went through Eden Prairie High School. So I understand that. So feel free to contact me anytime, and I will be in contact with you with more information as we get closer to this trip. So thanks again for watching. Have a great night.